welcome to the deep dive. So you've brought us a really interesting source today.
Yeah, it's an episode from a podcast called One English Dialogue a Day.
Listen, repeat, speak your daily English practice. That's the title.
Exactly.
Okay, so our mission, our goal for this deep dive is to really dig into their method for language learning
Mm-hmm.
and pull out some insights, about efficient study habits, especially for those of you who are short on time.
Right, the practicality aspect.
Yeah. The core idea seems simple enough. Short, daily practice,
Yep.
focusing on natural conversations.
And that specific listen, repeat, speak method they use.
Okay, let's unpack that then. What's the thinking behind one dialogue a day?
Well, what's kind of neat is how simple the concept is.
Right.
They literally give you one short, everyday conversation each day.
Okay.
And the hosts, Alex and Maya, they make a point of speaking slowly and clearly.
So it's accessible.
Very.
Yeah.
For different levels.
Yeah.
And that three-step process, listen, then repeat, then speak, it's a classic for a reason.
It works.
It engages different parts of the learning process. You hear it, you try to copy it, which, taps into how we naturally pick up language. Mimicry.
Right, like kids do.
Sort of, yeah. You're using your ears and your mouth together, internalizing the patterns without maybe even realizing it fully.
And they really push the consistency angle, don't they?
Oh, definitely. They talk about just 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes, that's it.
That's the claim. But do that daily, and over a month, that's like 30 conversations you've practiced.
That actually adds up quite a bit. Doesn't sound like much day to day, but cumulatively.
Exactly. It builds up. And the idea is that this leads to, real-world confidence, small steps, big results over time.
Okay, theory's one thing. Let's get practical.
Yeah.
How does it actually work? Maybe we should look at one of their dialogues.
Good idea. The episode we're diving into uses a dialogue about ordering coffee.
Perfect. Super common scenario. Something you'd actually use.
Totally practical.
Okay, so let's hear the dialogue itself. How does it go?
All right, it's between a barista and a customer. Goes like this. Barista says, "Hi there. What can I get for you today?" Customer. "Hi. Can I get a medium latte, please?" Barista. "Sure. Would you like it hot or iced?" Customer. "Hot, please." Barista. "Great. Anything else?" Customer. "No, that's all. Thanks." Barista. "Okay, that'll be $4.50. Customer. "Here you go, barista. Thank you. Your drink will be ready soon."
Short, sweet. Very focused.
Exactly. Gets the job done.
So after just listening, what's the next step in their method? The repeat part.
Yeah, they have this segment called Repeat After Us.
Ugh.
They basically go through the dialogue line by line, say a line, then there's a pause.
For the listener to copy them.
Right. You imitate what you just heard. And it's not just about the words.
The sound too. Intonation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pronunciation, the rhythm, the ups and downs of the voice, trying to sound, natural.
Okay, that makes sense. Listen, then actively repeat, and then comes the speak part.
Yep. That's the Speak With Us segment.
And how does that work?
It's interactive. So you, the listener, take on one of the roles.
Oh, like role-playing?
Kind of, yeah. First, maybe you're the customer. The podcast hosts provide the barista's lines.
Okay.
And then you swap. You become the barista.
I see. So you're not just repeating, you're actually, having the conversation.
Precisely. It moves you from just passive listening or simple repetition into actively producing the language in context.
What's the benefit of that active part? Does it help it stick?
Absolutely. It forces recall. You have to remember the phrases, apply the pronunciation you practiced, and basically rehearse the real thing in a low-pressure way.
Yeah.
Builds confidence.
Right. And the episode, it doesn't just stop at the dialogue, does it? They pull out specific phrases.
They do. They highlight what they call key useful phrases.
Okay, well, like what from the coffee example?
Well, first one is, "Can I get a?"
The basic ordering phrase.
Exactly. Super versatile. Can I get a coffee? Can I get a sandwich? Polite way to ask.
Makes sense. What else?
And then there's, "That's all."
Simple enough.
Yeah.
Means you're finished ordering.
Right. Like in the dialogue. "No, that's all. Thanks." Clear signal.
Okay. And the third one,
Here you go.
when you're handing something over?
Yeah. Like giving the money or maybe handing over a form or anything, really. Here you go.
So really practical, functional language chunks,
That seems to be the focus. High-frequency stuff you can use right away.
which is probably quite motivating, right? Instead of just abstract grammar rules.
Definitely. Getting those useful phrases down early gives you quick wins, makes you feel like you're actually communicating, which is, the whole point.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, they also mentioned another technique, shadowing.
Ah, yes. Shadowing. Good one.
What exactly is that? That sounds a bit mysterious.
It's actually pretty straightforward in concept. You listen to a sentence
Yuck.
and you try to repeat it almost immediately after hearing it, like an echo or a shadow.
At the same time, or right after.
Almost at the same time or with a very slight delay. The key is focusing on copying the sound.
The sound, not necessarily the meaning.
Initially, yeah. They suggest you don't even need to understand every word at first. It's about mimicking the rhythm, the tone, the pronunciation, getting the music of the language.
Interesting. So it's more physical, like training your mouth.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. It connects your listening directly to your speaking muscles.
Okay.
You're training that coordination, trying to match the speaker's flow and intonation without overthinking the grammar. It's quite intuitive.
And they suggest trying this with the coffee dialogue.
Yeah, they encourage you to try shadowing it.
So putting it all together,
Yeah.
what's the final step they recommend?
They wrap up with a today's challenge.
A challenge, like homework.
Sort of, but framed as practice. They basically say, practice this dialogue out loud 3 times.
3 times.
First, just repeat the lines after the host, like in the repeat after us bit.
Okay.
Second, do the role play, the speak with us part, playing both roles.
Right.
And third, try shadowing the dialogue.
Listen, repeat, speak, and then shadow. Got it.
And they even suggest fitting this into your day, like while you're cooking or walking.
Finding those little pockets of time.
Exactly, making it part of your routine. And for people who want to go the extra mile,
Yes.
they suggest recording yourself.
Oh, to hear what you actually sound like.
Precisely. Compare yourself to the original speakers. Helps you spot where maybe your pronunciation or intonation is a bit off. Self-correction.
It makes a lot of sense. Active practice, self-assessment. Seems crucial.
It really is. It moves learning from just passively taking stuff in to actively doing something with it and reflecting on it.
Okay, so if we step back and summarize this whole one English dialogue a day approach,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways from our deep dive?
Well, I think the big things are the power of short, consistent daily effort. Even 5 minutes adds up.
Right, that consistency principle again,
Then there's the method itself. Listen, repeat, speak. Very structured, very active.
using practical everyday situations like ordering coffee.
Yep. Focusing on useful phrases you can actually use. And incorporating techniques like shadowing to really hone the pronunciation and flow.
It seems like a really accessible and potentially quite effective package, especially for busy people.
I think so. It breaks down a big task learning a language into manageable daily steps.
Now, connecting this back,
Yeah.
to our listeners' wider interest in just learning effectively, acquiring knowledge efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
are there broader principles here we can pull out beyond just language?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Breaking down complex information into small, digestible units.
Like one dialogue a day.
Right. Then active engagement. Not just reading or listening, but doing something repeating, role-playing, applying.
Like the repeat and speak steps.
Exactly. And prioritizing the most practical, high-impact stuff first.
To key phrases.
These principles, they could apply to learning almost anything, couldn't they? A new skill, a complex subject.
That's a really interesting thought. Could you create a sort of dialogue a day for, I don't know, learning history or coding basics?
Yeah. Why not? Maybe short scenarios, key concept explanations you interact with daily?
So the final thought for you, the listener, might be, how could you adapt this? This idea of short, focused, daily, active practice.
Yeah. Could you take a subject you're interested in and break it down into these kinds of interactive, repeatable chunks?
Using repetition, maybe even a kind of role-playing or application, could that accelerate how you learn and retain information in other areas?
It's definitely something worth mulling over, how to make learning more like a daily conversation.